Set the stage for the position. What part of this is you don't just find out all the great things they did while they were there. Set the stage. Like my favorite thing about the World's Best Resume Writer competition was we built in all the ground rock. And what I mean by that is we took a retail sales manager in that resume description. It was based on one of my real clients. She had done all these great things. So it's wonderful to hear she increased sales by 300%, and she, was the top performing center out of 13 centers nationwide, and her staff won all these sales awards. That sounds great, and that's all candy that we want to include and how they did it, those car stories. But what if we didn't get the baseline, which is the fact that when she took it over, they were the lowest performing location nationwide, that they were about to be shut down, that their churn was so incredibly high on customers, and you get the idea. Everything was low. But a lot of times I read resumes and I have absolutely no idea of the point of reference. There's all these pie-in-the-sky accomplishments, and wow, it's great to have achieved those, but what if you had this great saving story? Or what if maybe you didn't have a great saving story? I worked with, when I got the position as the resume expert for the 55 associations, I actually had to write the president of the technology company's resume, who was over all of the entire thing. And she wanted to make sure this time they were getting the right person. And when I sat down with her, I said, so tell me what you stepped into. And I never stop there. I always say, how did it, for example, was it a newly created position? Did they have goals that they wanted to accomplish, milestones, deadlines for those? Were you taking over after a lag? Maybe somebody wasn't in the position for a while. So what were all the challenges you stepped into that maybe they didn't even warn you about? And so I give them 3 or 4 examples. And a lot of times, this is the thing I hear people struggle with. They may try to ask the right questions, but the client's not warmed up, they're not ready, and they're going to need to be spoon-fed more. And they're like, it was great. And it's like, okay, so there were no challenges, nothing going on. And they're like, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's when we start digging into the body of their resume. And again, the reverse engineer, as you go through the job, because that's what I do. That's my approach, is I go through what they've given me, and I do some research up front, which is that homework piece. So I know and can look really savvy about the things that should have been on that resume they sent me. So we'll go through, we'll dig, we'll get the stories, and then as I see a picture emerging, as I continue to spoon feed deeper and deeper into each question, when I say, so you managed that. Was there anything that you made better? Anywhere that you saved money? Anything you did that maybe made your job easier, even if nobody else noticed it? And they'll be like, well, I did do this. Oh, so what was the impact of that? Well, it was this. Oh, well, can you quantify that? Well, what do you mean? Well, how many customers did that touch? And how much money was that? It depends on the particular situation, but you just keep spoon feeding them down the line. And if you're thinking, gee, this sounds like it takes a lot of time, it does. But I'm worth being paid for my time to get this out of them, as are all of you, if you're going to paint the appropriate picture. So anyway, back to my president. She says, nothing, it was a great company, there was nothing. And so we dug into the interview, and this picture emerged, and what it turned out was, when I finally got her warmed up and comfortable with me, was that actually, she'd stepped into an old boys club, where they were like, our company's great, and you're just a girl, and we'll give you a shot, but there's no way you can do better than this, so we expect you to just maintain the status quo. And I gotta tell you what, she kicked butt. She raised everything in this entrenched, old school company. So when I wrote that, what I call the hook, the opening paragraph of the job description, I was able to grab the reviewer by the back of the neck and shove their face into it and go, oh my gosh, that's us. What did she do? Look what she accomplished. So the accomplishments mean so much more when you dug out the story.